Lemoore, about 40 miles away from Fresno. The pilot did eject safely. Military officials are investigating what happened. Governor's office says they are actively monitoring the situation. 31,000 students across the Stockton area getting ready for school this morning. Stockton also implemented a new no cell phone policy this year, requiring students to keep phones off during class. High school students will still be allowed to use their phones during lunch and passing periods. All right, Rob, final check on the weather for us.
Okay, today's going to be warmer than yesterday. A normal end of July day, highs in the low to mid 90s. So be prepared for some sunshine and some heat out there with a slight delta breeze. It's not going to be like last night. It's going to be barely there and doesn't last for very long, but we're going to be hanging out in the 90s and even a few days near the upper 80s for highs as we move into next week. Next week is definitely going to be hotter as we flirt with triple-digit heat. Now for traffic, two things. 99 northbound coming into Sacramento from Elk Grove and South Sacramento, very slow because of an earlier crash. So there's just some residual traffic from that. And then also, like we mentioned, this is the I-5 South closure. They're rerouting traffic. There's not a lot of ways around here, and it's bottlenecked on 120 from Manteca as well.
Just out, see if you can follow along here. There's a lot of pieces to this. Oreo and Reese's rolling out two new treats combining flavors from both snacks. One of the new creations, a revamped version of a 2014 cookie that used Reese's peanut butter. The new version has Oreo cookie crumbs in the filling. The other new snack, a Reese's Oreo cup. It replaces the chocolate on a Reese's cup with Oreo's milk chocolate and white cream. It is also filled with peanut butter and Oreo cookie crumbs. This is as involved a story as I can possibly imagine we'll do all day. Both will be available starting in September. If you can follow all of what I just said, then you get the first box.
And if you don't find yourself around one of these, just buy both and just shove them in your mouth, and it's going to end up tasting the same way anyway.
See, I knew there was a reason we brought you in here. All right, coming up at 7:30, I know you'll be around in the next hour because you love this. The ABC10 Plus TV streaming app, Rich Eisen, that's not Rich Eisen, that's Kamala Harris. Rich is the editor-in-chief of Capital Weekly. He's going to take stock on the California governor's race following the exit of Vice President Kamala Harris. We'll hear from Rich. That'll be about 7:30. Truckee bypass. Beautiful morning. More news to come.
ABC 10 Morning News at 7 starts now.
We are now live on ABC 10 Plus as we continue the morning news. I'm Walt Gray. We do have breaking news. This is out of Lathrop. Been covering this all morning. A shooting took place earlier this morning along Interstate 5. ABC 10's Candace Red is live at the scene to give us a better understanding of what the roadway situation is there. And Candace, I know you're new there, recently arriving, and also this was an officer-involved shooting.
Well, that's correct. You know, we just got here to the scene not too long ago, and what I can tell you is that traffic is really just a stop and go at this point. It's all because of this investigation happening right behind me. This is after a shooting involving a CHP officer in Lathrop. Again, giving you a live look at the scene where several CHP officers along with Caltrans are at. Now, there are at least 6 CHP vehicles and 3 other cars not affiliated with law enforcement. Officers are focusing mainly on a silver vehicle, snapping photos and collecting any possible evidence. It's still not clear, however, if a CHP officer was shot or fired their gun. Again, we're still simply trying to figure out exactly what happened, how many people were involved in the shooting, and if anyone was hurt or not. CHP told us the shooting happened overnight on I-5 South. This is right near the 120 East Manteca exit. Traffic, again, really is just a major headache at this point. All traffic on I-5 South is being diverted off at Luis Avenue. Again, this is all because of this shooting investigation involving a CHP officer. The on-ramp from Luis Avenue to southbound I-5 is also closed. Of course, drivers should expect delays and find other ways to get to their destinations. Again, we can tell you that there's just simply no word on when the interstate will fully reopen. And that's the latest information here as it relates to the investigation. Of course, we ourselves will continue to work with law enforcement officers to learn more details, and once we do, we'll bring it straight to you. Walt?
Candace, we will check back. I know you're getting all the information. Obviously, this is a criminal investigation and also affects a major roadway, southbound I-5. All right, Candace, thank you. We will check back. Let's go check on weather for today as we're approaching the weekend. Still no 100s, Rob. That's all good.
Yeah, no triple digits, widespread. I really think, though, at some point next week, some of us far north of Sacramento or south or even on the edges, some of the suburbs have a real shot of getting to that number, but that's not till next week, and of course that'll be the big theme is how hot we get during the day. Today, as we're rounding out the last day of July, which we all know is one of the nicest we've ever had around here, we're going to end with widespread low 90s. So more or less a normal day for this time of July. We've got the weekend temperatures, low 90s. It's looking pretty good. And then next week, we are going to get hot. But remember, there's a couple things happening. The days just are not as long. We've lost more than 40 minutes of daylight since the summer solstice. So that's number one. And number two, as we're getting hot next week, we should, for the most part, stay away from widespread triple-digit heat. Now, we've got a little bit of a delta breeze happening at the moment, but more or less that becomes somewhat of a less of an issue into the evening. Yesterday was nice and strong, cooled us into the 70s by sunset. Tonight, we're looking at the 80s. One thing that's going to be different today compared to yesterday is that we're going to be watching for much less showers and thunderstorm activity compared to with what we saw yesterday. Yesterday was interesting. There were 2 phases of it. There was one in the middle of the night. It was super busy, and some of those storms were really strong at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, roughly in this area for Calaveras, Tuolumne, El Dorado, and Alpine counties, where Kirkwood is. Then it flared up again into the afternoon. This chunk of moisture has now moved off to the north, so that it's very likely that we're going to see much less activity, if anything at all. In fact, I'm looking at mostly sunny conditions for Truckee, South Lake Tahoe by this afternoon. There's that light delta breeze, so it's good that it's still happening, but it's not going to be a major factor in your evening. In fact, you could see it's going to be 5 to 10 miles per hour versus 10 to 15 miles per hour. That's a big difference. And then the temperatures are just slower to cool down into the evening. But at any rate, the temperatures you see here are more or less in line with our averages. We're looking at low to mid 90s, a bit of a cool down Sunday to Monday, going back to the upper 80s. So that's going to be a nice way to end your weekend and begin your next week. And then moving forward here, we've got temperatures that are going to be in the mid to upper 90s. We're going to switch over to traffic here because this is such a big deal. One thing that happened in the middle of the night, one thing that happened about 6 a.m. Was a crash 99 coming into Sacramento right here. It's been cleared up, but there's just a lot of residual traffic. It's better than what it was, say, half an hour ago, but it's still not great. Then this, of course, is the breaking news that Candace Red was on. Lanes closed or diverting traffic. Here's the overall lay of the land. We've got I-5, there's a closure there, and then there's also additional crashes as people are coming into this big backup, so that's a whole separate issue. Rerouting through this area here, getting over to 120 Manteca, which is usually slow anyway, and then there's a major backup there as well. The problem is, here's the San Joaquin River right here, the Green Bridge, if you know what I'm talking about. Then you've got Mountain House over here. There's just not a lot of ways. It's not like you're going to find some secret road that nobody knows about to get over through some of the Delta areas and some of these waterways. So everything kind of comes together here anyway, and that's why there's a major backup, at least 5 miles in either direction. The thing that's very unusual about this is that as people are finding a way around it, the Tracy to Livermore commute, which is usually about 1 hour by now, is only 39 minutes because everyone's stuck in the backup. So lots of strange things happening with the officer-involved shooting and related investigation still ongoing this morning. Walt?
Rob, thank you again. That's I-5 southbound at Louise in Lathrop. And now to that massive earthquake we've been covering since Tuesday. Tsunami fears are gone now after that 8.8 quake off the east coast of Russia. Evacuations were ordered across the Pacific, including Japan, Hawaii, all the way to South America. The California coast also impacted, but no major damage reported, although Crescent City, just south of the Oregon border, had some of the highest waves in the West Coast. This morning, military officials investigating the cause of this, a Navy jet crash. The F-35 went down near Naval Air Station Lemoore. Excuse me, that's about 40 miles from Fresno. The pilot did eject safely. Governor's office says they're actively monitoring the situation. Morning, we're learning more about the victims in the Reno casino shooting. Andrew Canepa and Justin Aguilar were both 33 years old, residents of Southern California, in Reno for a bachelor party. They were shot as they were leaving the casino. The other victim is a resident of Reno, Angel Martinez. He was shot while driving in the parking lot exiting the casino. He was 66. The suspect remains in the hospital in critical condition. Family, friends, and neighbors mourning the loss of the 3 men killed in the casino shooting. ABC 10's Laura Painter with a look at the vigil and prayer service last night in their honor.
An emotional evening as people gathered and offered prayers at the Unity Center of Reno Wednesday night to honor and remember the 3 victims killed in the deadly shooting at the Grand Sierra Resort Casino. The multi-faith vigil included prayers by Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, and other faith leaders.
I think we should spread the message of love around so these things don't happen in the future.
According to their Facebook page, it was organized by Unity minister Tony King and Hindu statesman Rajan Zed, who led this prayer from Hindu scripture in Sanskrit, urging followers to recognize the power of God.
Om.
Also in attendance, Reno's Vice Mayor Kathleen Taylor.
We will forever honor the lives that were lost, along with those that were saved. We will always remember you.
And local law enforcement.
Tragedies like this are horrific for any community to endure. Not just for the victims, the first responders, and for the people who were there, but for everyone who calls our community home.
Laura Painter on that story. Speculation now over former Vice President Harris will not be running for governor of California. Harris says, though, she is leaving open the possibility of running for president in 2028. In a statement, she said in part, quote, "I love the state, its people, its promise. It is my home, but after deep reflection, I've decided I will not run for governor. For now, my leadership and public service will not be in elected office," end of quote. That said, immediately thereafter, U.S. Representative Nancy Pelosi spoke about Harris's decision.
Well, I'm sure that I support any decision that she made in terms of running for governor in California. And now we're off to a gubernatorial race where we have many great candidates, one in particular, Lenny Secopoulos, whom I support, but if Kamala was not running. whatever she decides to do.
Pelosi there endorsing Lieutenant Governor Eleni Sakopoulos-Kounalakis. The Democratic field also includes former LA Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, former Controller Betty Yee, former U.S. Congressmember Katie Porter, former State Senate Leader Tony Atkins, former U.S. Health Secretary Javier Becerra, and State Superintendent of Schools Tony Thurmond. On the Republican side so far, Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, British native, former Fox commentator Steve Hilton, business consultant Sharifa Hardy, farmer Leo Zaki, and entrepreneur and affordable housing advocate Brandon Jones. Back to school day for families in Stockton. The school district welcoming 31,000 students back this morning, but they're asking students to keep their cell phones on vacation. Stockton Unified Schools implementing a new cell phone policy for the school year. Governor Newsom signed Assembly Bill 3216 into law last year, called the Phone Free School Act. The law requires every school district, charter school, and county office of education to develop a policy limiting the use of smartphones. The deadline to do so, July 1, 2026. The district sent a letter to students, staff, and families in May explaining the new rule.
Children are not allowed to use their cell phones during instructional time. So we sent home both letters and postcards. Please read that information. It's also in our new first day of school packet.
Under the new policy, phones must be turned off and stored in backpacks during class. If a student doesn't follow the rule, the phone will be placed in a so-called designated storage area in the classroom or office. A dangerous stretch of Broadway and Oak Park finally getting the kind of safety upgrades neighbors have been calling for. Now keep in mind they've been raising concerns for years. ABC 10's Gajpal Sangha now explains how the city is planning to tackle the problem.
Broadway and Oak Park is finally getting a safety makeover.
I definitely think it's long overdue.
Neighbors like Jermaine Washington says this part of Broadway between Martin Luther King Jr. and Stockton Boulevard hasn't just been overlooked, it's been dangerous. The city says this stretch has one of the highest rates of serious crashes in Sacramento.
It has gotten so bad, ballards have been installed on a portion of this stretch to make sure cars, when they crash, they don't go into any of these buildings.
Now the city is starting the process towards permanent fixes, like it did in Land Park, narrowing the street from 4 lanes to 2 with a turning lane in the middle, adding protected bike lanes and updated sidewalks.
Seeing an improvement in sort of the visual aspect of the city will allow people to have more pride walking through it.
Maybe they'll hit the nail on the head over here. We'll see.
The city has put in temporary measures in place to slow the traffic down, and some of those measures is right here, eliminating a portion of that second lane by putting in these traffic posts by MLK and Broadway.
There hasn't been a single accident since, but the reality is that we need more permanent solutions.
Councilmember Katie Maple represents this district and says the project couldn't come fast enough, and also adds this is just the beginning.
We have plans for Stockton Boulevard, we have plans for Freeport Boulevard and beyond, and I'm hopeful that we can get the funding that we need to do that, but really glad that we're finally getting Broadway off the ground.
Reporting from Sacramento, Gajpal Sangha, ABC 10.
So if all goes as planned, construction on the Broadway Vision Zero project could start sometime next summer. Coming up, ABC 10 Morning News, Mark S. Allen spending some time at the fair.
Act natural, Emmett. Act natural. Don't be nervous, but there's a giant corn dog over there. Do you see him? Mm-hmm. And then next to us, a giant can of mustard. Do you see him? Mm-hmm. Should we shoot a cannon at that guy filled with corn dogs? Mm-hmm. All right. Emmett said it enthusiastically. Good morning to you, too. Coming up in a moment, a giant corn dog cannon, a giant corn dog, and a giant mustard. What are they all going to do? You're going to find out. It's the only kind of action you're going to see at the Amador County Fair. We will be right back. Smile and wave, Emmett. Look natural.
New details coming in about the deadly midair crash between a Black Hawk helicopter and a passenger jet. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio gives us a clear idea what the pilots of that American Airlines plane said in the final moments.
Good morning. The NTSB is now revealing what they found on the plane's voice recorder, including the final conversation between the American Airlines pilots who appeared hesitant about a last-minute switch to land on a different runway.
Flight 5342 is visible in the upper left corner as it approaches runway 33.
This morning, new video from the end of the runway at Reagan National Airport shows the moment before an American Airlines flight collided with an Army helicopter, killing all 67 people on board. The head of the NTSB now slamming the FAA and the Army for not taking ownership of the incident, saying it never should have happened.
Are you kidding me? 67 people are dead. How do you explain that?
During a hearing on Capitol Hill Wednesday, federal investigators revealed the Black Hawk helicopter likely didn't know how high they were flying or how close they were to the airliner before the deadly collision. The instrument in the helicopter that helps pilots gauge their height was found to be inaccurate by up to 130 feet. Investigators also found the helicopter route at the time of the collision allowed the Black Hawk to fly as close as 75 feet below planes. According to FAA surveillance data, there have been over 15,000 close proximity events between helicopters and commercial aircraft at DCA between October 2021 and December 2024. Some of the reports warn that the flight space was an accident waiting to happen. That route has since been closed. Family members of the 67 people who lost their lives filled the hearing room, including Doug Lane, who lost his wife and son in the crash.
When you see just how avoidable this whole tragedy was, but I know for many of us, filling in the blanks is helpful.
Staffing was also cited as a concern. Investigators say at the time of the crash, the controller was handling both planes and helicopter traffic. A full report on the crash is expected early next year. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
President Trump set to rewrite the rules of global trade just after the clock strikes midnight tonight. That's when his pause on a list of tariffs is scheduled to end. The Trump administration distributing out trade news before the deadline, announcing a 15% duty on South Korean imports. The president says it'll be 50% for Brazilian goods if that country won't end the trial of a former president accused of attempting a coup. He's also doubling down on 25% tariffs on imports from India. Samsung's profit continues to tumble as it struggles to catch up in the AI chip race. According to its earnings report, Samsung's second quarter operating profit plummeted 55% when compared to the same period last year. The company says the operating profit for its chips division shrank by nearly 94% compared to the same period last year. The chip division used to account for 2/3 of Samsung's overall profit. Samsung placed some of the blame for the worse than expected performance on the continued fallout from U.S. export controls on advanced AI chips to China. Microsoft achieving a market capitalization of $4 trillion yesterday, putting it just behind NVIDIA as the second most valuable company in America. The jump comes after MS reported 18% revenue growth Wednesday. Like NVIDIA, Microsoft is heavily involved in artificial intelligence, but it was the company's Azure cloud computing business that fueled most of its recent growth. That sector boomed 34% over last year for Microsoft. Coming up right here, we'll have a look at all the top stories we're following to help get you out the door this morning. Stay with us. This is an ABC 10 morning news update. I'm Walt Gray, and here's what's happening. A CHP officer involved in a shooting in Lathrop early this morning led to traffic backups on I-5 all morning during heavy commute time. CHP has not said if their officer was hit or fired the weapon or both. We'll have updates all day on ABC10.com in our next newscast coming up at 11 this morning. A vigil was held Tuesday night for the 3 people killed in a shooting at a Reno casino. Police identified the suspected shooter as 26-year-old Dakota Hoover from Reno. A motive for the shooting is still under investigation. An F-35 fighter jet crashed near Naval Air Station Lemoore, about 40 miles from Fresno. The pilot ejected safely. Military officials are investigating the cause of the crash. Governor's office says they are actively monitoring the situation. Much more news to come here on ABC 10.
All right, we've got a lot of weather and traffic to talk about. The weather's more or less tolerable and normal for this time of year. We've had a very cool July, so to get to the normal temperatures in the low 90s for highs, that's acceptable, right? At least it's not triple digits. Nice and cool early this morning with great air quality, but it's going to be a warm up. Yesterday, upper 80s, today, low to mid 90s. So you're going to notice this and feel it, and it's also going to be slow going for cooling into the evening because this delta breeze that we are going to get is just short-lived and kind of weak, certainly compared to yesterday. So it's going to be a normal day for this time, the very last day of July. Then, looking forward, it's going to be temperatures in the low 90s by the time we get to Sunday and upper 80s. Next week, we're going to get hot. Okay, we got to talk about traffic. Traffic is starting to slow down in and around Sacramento with this crash on 99. But the big story is this: still ongoing police investigation related to a shooting. I-5 South closure backed up on 5 and 120.
Breaking news on ABC10 Plus. I'm Walt Gray. We head to Lathrop. A shooting took place earlier this morning along Interstate 5. ABC10's Candace Red getting to Lathrop and has a better understanding, at least traffic-wise, of what people are dealing with on southbound I-5. Candace?
Well, Walt, good morning to you. Yes, we ourselves were stuck in that heavy traffic, and giving you a live look right behind me, you can see why. It's all because of a shooting investigation. Again, this is a shooting involving a CHP officer in Lathrop. Now, several CHP officers, they are still here at the scene. There's also 3 other vehicles not affiliated with law enforcement here. Officers are focusing mainly on a silver car. We've seen them snapping photos and collecting any possible evidence. You know, it's still not clear, however, if a CHP officer was shot or fired their gun. We're still just simply trying to figure out exactly what happened, how many people were involved in the shooting, and if anyone was hurt or not. CHP told us the shooting happened overnight on I-5 South. This is near the 120 East Manteca exit. Now, traffic, as I mentioned before, is a major headache early this morning. All traffic on I-5 South is being diverted off at Louise Avenue because of the shooting investigation. The on-ramp from Louise Avenue to I-5 South is also closed. Well, drivers, of course, should expect delays and follow the detours posted. CHP is also encouraging people to, just simply avoid this area if possible and find other ways to get to their early morning destinations. Coming back out to you live again, there's no telling how long this section of I-5 South will be closed. Of course, stick with ABC10 on air and online at abc10.com and on our free streaming app, ABC10 Plus. We'll be sure to bring you the latest details as soon as we get it. Walt?
Okay, Candace Red getting the information down there again. I-5 southbound Louise Avenue exit Lathrop involving officer-involved shooting. More information to come on the shooting part. We do know the traffic part is not good right now. Thank you, Candace. Let's get a check now, your weather forecast. Rob, we're kind of curious about the weekend. I know it's Thursday morning, but at least you can tell us no hundreds, right?
Yeah, we're going to be far away from triple-digit territory all the way through the weekend. We've got some warming, though. Yesterday, nice in the 80s, yet another one. The calendar's just loaded up with blue days below average, but we're going to go back to normal conditions for this last day of July. Great weekend ahead. Next week, it's going to be hot. Not triple-digit hot, but it's going to be hot. So when you take a look at July, we should just print this out, frame it, and put it up on the wall, right? I mean, when are you ever going to see a July like this with just huge numbers, 20 days below average? Today's going to be about average. So it's going to end up being top 5 of the coolest Julys on record. You have to go back a long time to see anything like that, what we just went through. And we're grateful because last July was brutal, hot, relentless. This July was a really good one. Also with great air quality essentially the whole time except for a few days. With that said, one big difference today compared to yesterday is that yesterday from the middle of the night to the afternoon, it was just busy in the mountains. We had showers, thunderstorms, some of them really strong with hail, lightning, gusty winds, heavy downpours. And then things calm down in the middle of the night tonight. So now we're looking forward to some more clearing conditions. This slug of moisture, which was part of the very active day yesterday, has moved off to the north. So we're expecting some showers and thunderstorms far northern California, but in our local area, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. Early this morning, we've got temperatures in the 50s and 60s, a few 70s for the lower foothills, the thermal belt, where for a couple thousand feet, it's a little bit warmer than the valley floor. And then once you get above that, it's actually cool in the 40s this morning for Truckee and South Lake Tahoe. But overall, it's going to be a warm to hot afternoon. It kind of depends on your situation. If you're doing something physical, outdoors, direct sunshine without any benefit of shade, it's going to feel hot to you for sure. But if you can find some shade or just limit what you're doing, you're going to be okay. This is a normal type of day for this time in very late July, close to our averages both in the morning and also the afternoon. One key difference is not only that we're going to be warmer today, but also this evening, it's just going to be really slow to cool. Yesterday, we were solidly in the 70s by about sunset. This evening, we're going to be in the 80s. So it's going to be slower to cool, likely going to have to use your AC both in the afternoon and early evening to really get you to that comfortable spot so you can get to bed. All right, we've got temperatures in the 90s through the weekend, but another chance to get to the 80s, both on Sunday and also on Monday as well. But then once we get past that, it's very clear. Obviously, we're going to be sunny, but we're going to start to look at more hot temperatures coming back. The issue here is that you have to pick a number, right? We've got lots of different microclimates. We've got lots of places that either are or are not affected by the wind. And once you look at mid-90s, you have to expect that some of you, especially well north or south of Sacramento or on the edges of the valley, you've got a much greater shot of getting to triple-digit territory. With that said, we've got Sacramento's looking slower than it was, say, 30 minutes ago, but there's not a massive backup. This problem spot from construction and just a normal bottleneck is starting to slow up in West Sacramento, getting to the causeway. But really the big story of the morning is what Candace Red was talking about. Still, two major roads that are affected by this. The police investigation is roughly in this area. There's a several-mile backup as they're getting all the cars off the road to reroute. Then you've got 120 between Manteca, getting over to 5, which is slow at this time anyway. There's a huge major backup there. The problem is that you've got to find a way to get over the waterways, either the San Joaquin River or some of the other ones, and there just isn't a lot in the area, so everyone's stuck on the same roads. The side impact, which might be beneficial once you get past all that, Tracy to Livermore is actually looking pretty good because everybody's stuck in the backup just before you get there. Over to you.
It is time now for all things current California politics. Joining me now, Rich Eisen of Capital Weekly. Rich, editor-in-chief. Rich, good to have you here. So the big story, which broke right around lunchtime yesterday, Kamala Harris not going to run for governor of California. Does that surprise you? And what about the timing of that? Why? Why is she not running?
Well, it doesn't surprise me because, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, Kamala's been hesitating, shall we say. I mean, look, this is a tough job. This is the fourth biggest economy in the world. And at the end of the day, you want somebody who really wants this job because we're going to have probably years of major big-time deficits. We have, of course, probably years more of pretty open warfare with the federal administration. This is not something you want somebody in office who's maybe only partially committed or thinking about something else they'd rather be doing.
Okay.
So in that regard, it seems like, you know, she has bigger ambitions. Maybe it's a presidential run in 2028. She says she really wants to focus her time right now on helping elect Democrats around the country. Those are both worthy things for her to do. And, you know, she's still fairly young. She's 60 years old, I believe.
Yes, 60.
So there's no reason in the world for her to get into a job she doesn't really want.
Okay, that said, she's out. Now the candidates in the Democratic side recalibrate.
Yeah.
What is your polling showing in terms of a front-runner? Katie Porter getting some instant recognition, certainly from the San Francisco Chronicle. Right away on that.
Well, polling shows lots of things. One of the things that we were hearing right away yesterday, you know, I was talking with some folks affiliated with her. You know, they have some internal polling that seems to show she has a pretty significant lead over the rest of the field. Other polling does not show that at all. It really depends, again, when was the poll taken and how was it asked. Always with polling, you need to have a little bit of a grain of salt perspective. That said, you know, she's got great name recognition. No one else in the field seems to be pulling in any real numbers.
Okay.
So at this point, sure, she is as good a bet as anybody.
Were you surprised Nancy Pelosi came right out and said that she was basically endorsing Eleni Kounalakis? Why so soon? Why would she do that?
Well, I mean, soon is a matter of perspective. Kounalakis has been in the race now since 2023.
But Harris just dropped out, which recalibrates the field. You won't see Governor Newsom endorsing anyone probably. I mean, was this obviously to jettison Kounalakis? I mean, the fundraising has got to get going here.
Yeah, you know, I think that's one of the things we heard yesterday is that there's an awful lot of now outreach going out to the big fundraisers who've been sitting on the sidelines waiting to see what was going to happen. I think you'll start to see some major dollars start to get committed to various candidates. You know, Eleni is somebody a lot of people feel has got a ton of money from her family that she can count on. You know, we'll see how that all plays itself out. But maybe Nancy wanted to put her thumb on the scale a little bit there.
Eleni Kounalakis, her dad, Angelos Akopoulos, who has been a very successful developer in and around the Sacramento region.
Yes.
Has President Trump in office done anything you can see that has been positive for California? My suggestion to you earlier was the border closing, slowing fentanyl coming in. Has at least that happened?
Well, that's a little debatable because that had been happening already. I'll be honest, it's really hard for me to see anything that Donald Trump has done that is beneficial to California at this point. I mean, when you look at whether it's the stuff that's happening with ICE raids, things that's happening with our environmental laws, things that are happening with just the overall polarization of the country and the state. Slowing fentanyl, not a bad thing. We haven't seen the impact of tariffs yet. That is one of the things I think is a little surprising for folks, that they thought there would be much more of an immediate impact.
Agreed. It seemed to, people were talking about June 1, maybe June 30th to start to see the tariff impact. And to your point, not so much?
Not so much yet. So beneficial to California, it's hard for me to pinpoint something there, but super detrimental on that front, not yet. Other things, definitely so.
Okay, quickly before we let you go, Texas talking about redrawing their maps, their electoral maps. Governor Newsom says, if you do that, we'll do this. Will this play out in like every state?
Well, that's what we were talking about. And Rob Bonta came out this week and said, look, I think there is a pathway here that's legal for voters to vote on this. So, and Texas came out with their plan as well. So, there's still a lot of ground to be covered in Texas. But I think I would not at all be surprised because, they know they're going to lose a lot. The Republicans know they're going to lose a lot of seats in the midterms because they always do. Every party in power does. So we'll see.
Okay. Rich Eisen, Editor-in-Chief, Capital Weekly. Rich, thank you.
Sure.
Time now for dollars and cents and no move for interest rates for now, and the Fed may have taken an even longer wait-and-see approach after the Federal Reserve's Open Market Committee decided again to hold interest rates steady. Chairman Jerome Powell signaled it could take several months to fully understand the effect of President Trump's tariffs on prices and the economy. High interest rates for mortgages helping to push down pending home sales last month. The National Association of Realtors says its pending home sales index dropped unexpectedly, falling 0.8% compared to May. Ford is warning that President Trump's tariffs will cost it more than expected. The carmaker now estimates the hit from tariffs could be up to $3 billion this year. Some carmakers already passing those tariff costs along. Porsche raising prices this month, and Aston Martin says it started raising prices last month. And many American winemakers not exactly thrilled with the tariffs on European wines hitting 30%. They tell USA Today their costs are going up too, from everything from bottles and barrels to corks, which come from overseas producers. All right, coming up on ABC 10 Morning News, trade rumors keep circulating. An update on the King's pursuit of Jonathan Kaminga. And Marcus Allen is at the fair.
Walt, say hello to my little friend! No, not Rich Hoffman, this little friend. A corn dog cannon. My goal right now, to hit that giant mustard. 3, 2, 1, hit it! Oh, look at this. It shoots, it scores. All right, kind of fell short. Coming up in a moment, I'm going to try to hit that mustard. We're going to hear for the very first time ever the corn dog song and meet some award-winning corn dogs. That and more as our live coverage of the Amador County Fair continues. Don't move. Now you can Hey, good morning. Happy Thursday. Thanks for watching on the ABC10 Plus app. We are live at the Amador County Fair, the opening day, just a few seconds from now. Don't be shy. Come over here. Do you like corn dogs? Do you like corn dogs? Don't just stand there. Come get you some corn dogs. Good morning, miss. What's your name?
Hello, Liesl Williams.
Liesl. Like Sound of Music. Exactly. I'm just 16, going on 17. So, Liesl, you're the corn dog purveyor here. What's making your corn dogs so much better?
We use a really good hot dog. We use Miller Meats, which is almost local, out of Lodi. And the best.
This is not a commercial. Make it Miller Meats for all your Miller Meats. All right. Hey, wait. Can I have someone sample one? Sir, what's your name?
Aiden.
Aiden, will you hold that? Take a bite and tell me what you think of it.
I don't like corn dogs.
Then hand it to that guy. Who doesn't like corn dogs? Someone, security! Get him out of here. Do you like corn dogs? How's that corn dog?
Good.
Good. Awesome. You guys go take your position. Coming up in a moment, they're going to be corn dog spotters. Hey, thank you so much, Liesl.
Right.
Where do we find you when we're at the fair?
Where do you find me? Right here, down here by the livestock. We have another stand up towards the front gate.
Got it. To give you a perspective, that's the main entrance, kind of like Disneyland Main Street. You'll dead end right into the hot dogs, the corn dogs as well. All right, over here, let's get to know Rich Hoffman. Rich Hoffman is the CEO of the county fair. You've known him. Big king of all media in these parts. An honor to know you, my friend. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure, buddy.
All right, so as promised, Rich Hoffman, for the very first time, you're going to perform what?
The corn dog song.
And before we get to the corn dog song, the fair opens up in about an hour and lasts till when?
Lasts till Sunday. It closes Sunday with the Demolition Derby.
Got it. And one of the biggest performers touring the world, but landing right here at the Amador Fair, Spasmatics win.
Spasmatics Friday night.
Friday. That's tomorrow night. All right, so he's going to perform the song. At the conclusion of the song, I'm going to fire this one-of-a-kind corn dog cannon one more time, trying to nail that mustard. This is going to be my year. In the meantime, are you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, hit it.
Give me a corn dog, hot, crispy on a stick, lots of bright yellow mustard, and pump it on real thick. I dream of corn dogs and their little brown cornbread coats sailing right up to me in their little checkered cardboard boats.
Yeah!
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. There you go. Rich up. Why don't you open for the Spasmatics?
I do, as a matter of fact.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I'm the guy with tape on the glasses.
Hey, fellas, before you leave, will you try to spot it one more time? Go get into position, will you? Do you have time? Yeah, that's Mr. likes corn dogs. And who doesn't like corn dogs, by the way?
Especially a nice red and white corn dog. Best corn dogs ever here at the fair.
Right, I can't remember which one, but throw one of those kids out of the fair for not liking corn dogs. Jokes, just jokes. All right, say hello to my little friend. How do you describe this corn dog cannon?
It's a modified T-shirt cannon that shoots a corn dog encapsulated in a pool noodle.
Got it. All right, I'm going to get it this time. All right, positions. Here it comes. Get ready, Mr. Mustard. This is not your year. In 3, 2, 1. Oh, man. Coming up short. The story of my life, Walter.
Yeah.
The story of my life. Back to you.
Dude, I couldn't be any more pleased by the banjo song and Rich Hoffman. I mean, that whole corn dog song encapsulates small county fairs. I love that. Tell them bravo.
It really does. Let's go out on it, as we say. Let's go out on it. Right. We're going to go out on it because Walt said an encore performance. We're going out on it. Hit it.
Give me a corn dog, hot, crispy on a stick.
Back to you.
Bright yellow mustard.
It's like Jimmy Buffett.
And pump it on real thick.
All right.
I dream of corn dogs.
This is.
And her little brown
I hate to end this.
Thank you,
It
Walt.
has to end sometime.
Right up to me
or maybe not.
in their little checker cardboard.
Back to you.
All right, thank you. Marcus Allen ended it. Somebody jumped in. Hey, you know what? It's the Amador County Fair. This is America. All right, good times keep rolling for A's fans, capping off their best week of the season with another win, knocking out 4 homers, beating the Mariners 5-4 last night in West Sacramento. The A's win the series. They've won 6 of their last 7 games. They now will host Arizona starting tonight in West Sacramento. San Francisco, the opposite. The Giants are sliding big time. This is their only highlight of the game. Mike Yastrzemski. Man, his grandpa, Carl, with the Red Sox was so good, made catches like that. There's Junior doing the same thing. But the Giants are struggling. They lost 2-1. They got swept by the lowly Pirates. The Giants now have a losing record. They will have to start turning things around. They will be in New York tomorrow to start a series against the Mets. Golden One Center, NBA offseason continues. The Kings and Warriors still talking about a Jonathan Kuminga trade. ABC10, the first to report the Kings' offer of Devin Carter, Dario Saric, and draft picks to the Warriors for Kuminga. We talked about that at the beginning of the month. We also learned Kuminga had a meeting with the Kings recently via Zoom. And yesterday, ESPN reports Kuminga wants to play for the Kings. He's turned down the Warriors' latest contract offer. But Kuminga is a restricted free agent, and the Warriors have the ability to match any contract offer he receives. And they're not interested, the Warriors, in any of the trade offers coming their way from the Kings and Phoenix at this point. In the meantime, the Kings have signed guard Daquan Plowden to a 2-way deal. Their final of 3 2-way spots. Plowden impressed the Kings, part of their summer league team in Vegas. They made it all the way to the championship game. Plowden played in 6 regular season games last year for Atlanta. So for more on the Kings' pursuit of Kuminga and full coverage of the remainder of the offseason, join our very own Matt George on the Locked On Kings podcast, available anytime on the ABC10 Plus streaming app. And check this out, Luca Orlando, who graduated from McClatchy High School in Sacramento, won his first world title and gold for Team USA in the 2025 World Championships in Singapore. He finished number 1 in the 200 fly, 151. That's a personal record for him. Just the 4th swimmer in history to break the 152 barrier, and the first for the USA since a guy named Michael Phelps. Luca also the first American to win a world title since Phelps did it in 2011. My daughter Abby swam with Luca on the McClatchy High School team. Their times very, very different, though. Coming up, we'll have the top stories this morning following another look at your weather and traffic. Stay with us. We hope you will. This is an ABC 10 Morning News Update. I'm Walt Gray. A CHP officer involved in a shooting in Lathrop this morning. CHP not saying if its officer was hit or fired the weapon. It all happened on I-5 southbound near the Louise Avenue off-ramp. Traffic has been backed up all morning as lanes were closed for the investigation. A dangerous stretch of Broadway in Oak Park is finally getting safety upgrades. Neighbors in the area have been raising concerns for years. While temporary measures are currently in place, the city plans on putting in more permanent solutions soon. 35,000 students across the Stockton region returning to school this morning. Stockton Unified implementing a new no cell phone policy this year, requiring students to keep phones off during class. High school students will still be allowed to use their phones, though, during lunch and passing periods. Rob?
Okay, the weather is warming up. This is very expected for this time in late July. Today's the final day, and we're going to see highs that reflect more or less the season that we're in, summer, right? Although our early mornings are nice and cool, that's also normal, by the way. Upper 50s and low 60s. We're heading toward highs obviously warmer than yesterday, low to mid 90s, but tolerable because we're staying away from triple digits for now, but that's not a guarantee as we move into next week. We've got a little bit of a delta breeze, so this is going to help with air quality. It's going to keep it nice, but it's not going to be the drastic and dramatic cooling that we saw yesterday with 70s before sunset even. That was really nice, but it's not going to happen tonight. We're looking at 80s by about sunset and then slow cooling into tomorrow, but we'll get there eventually. We've got 90s for the rest of this week, low 90s, and even a chance to get back to the 80s as we move deeper into August. But next week, it's all about the heat coming back with mid to upper 90s each and every day starting on Tuesday. We've got a lot of volume traffic in and around Sacramento, 99 slow coming into town as well as all the other major roads. But still, again, the major traffic story is this. I-5 South closed near Louise Avenue. They're rerouting all the traffic off the freeway. And then when they pick back up on 120, that's slow as well.
Here's what's next this morning in 58 seconds. ABC 10 Plus recap. A look at the headlines you may have missed. At 8:30, your money news. Top headlines affecting your wallet. Your California Life's at 9. Then after that, 9:30, take a look. A look into the chaos of heads of state with Mark S. Allen. So we have a moment for you to expand on the weather forecast. Anything you want to take back?
No, I'm still sticking
You're
with it.
on the record.
I really think, though, right now we're looking at mid-upper 90s, and visually, Walt, you don't see triple digits, but I think we're going to get there at some point.
I knew I shouldn't have asked you.
You opened it up. But look, 100 degrees, we've only had 4 days this whole summer. So maybe some of you, maybe you're a boater, you want some heat. It's coming next week.
Already looks warmer in that picture right there. All right, next news at 11. Thanks for watching.